I'm Aleks.
And I'm Rob.
I'm from Novi Sad, Serbia.
And I'm from New York. Aleks and I started dating after meeting on a German cruise ship where we were entertainers.
And now we are in a long-distance relationship.
Until we can be together again, we decided to start a podcast.
We may come from different backgrounds, but that's exactly what keeps the conversation going for hours.
We can't wait for you to listen to this episode.
So sit back and enjoy it.
Because we have a lot to talk about.
Hi, everybody.
We have a lot to talk about today, and this time we will stay on topic. We've pledged our word that we are talking about music today.
Yes.
It's something, it may morph into a different conversation, but that's kind of what our focus is on. So, if you guys have listened to the podcast before, you know that Aleks and I are both musicians.
Yeah.
Once we're professional musicians before the pandemic, and now just happy people. Just people who like music and try to do it as much as we can.
Yeah. People who are remember music fondly.
Yeah, who had past careers in music. So, Aleks, you play the drums.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Still do.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. Yeah, we have our jam sessions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we do some Sting, some Dolly Parton, some Lake Street Dive most recently. I'm trying to learn a song.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
So she's obviously here with me, and she brought like her small ukulele bass.
My U-bass is what it's called.
U-bass, yes.
Which I bought last June because I play the piano, but I didn't have a piano with me, so I was getting really anxious, so eventually in June I just bought myself.
So we kind of jam.
We jam. We do the jam. I don't really play piano much anymore, but
yeah.
I do sing. I try to sing a lot. Also, haven't really sang in a while, but I'm trying to change that up and trying to. But yeah, so we're musical people. So I guess the real question is, so for you, like, what's your like first memories of music?
In my household, it was always like some music was on.
Really? Oh yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. So like my dad grew up in the 60s, so as you know, but as people can imagine, it's like, you know, Beatles and Stones and the usual
Classics.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then.
Did he ever do music?
Yeah, he did play guitar and he did like lyrics for some people on the side. For some artists and things like that. Also, in former Yugoslavia, they have like a few festivals. One was in Croatia, during the summer, on the seaside, of course. And then he would go with a few of his friends. That like one was the guitar player, and they need a backup singer, so he will go because they would do a song for him.
Mm-hmm.
And they will kind of perform. That's the maximum. He was not really in the band. He knew how to play guitar. I mean, he's like, I guess, rusty now.
Does he have a guitar?
Used to have a guitar, but I think that what happened. The one that he had like last. I think it kind of became like a band because it was like, it was old and it was not really a quality guitar, so because of the strings it kind of bented and it's not really for use anymore. But he did have like a few guitars when he was younger, and in the 60s and 70s it was normal to have a guitar and just to play, you know, with friends. So, and he did do a few lyrics for people here and there. That's like he's rich for the music. He was never in the band. But we were always listening to something either on the radio, or he will play records. He still has a nice
record player, yeah.
nice collection of records. I think it must be that he has 100 and something records.
Wow.
Yeah. And some notable bands. I remember maybe the most commercial music here. I mean, that he was playing to us was ABBA or something. Everything else was kind of a little bit more conceptual stuff. He has a nice collection of I think even the early records of Pink Floyd. He doesn't have everything. I think he's missing 2 or 3 albums, but the first ones that are very rare. For some of the albums, some collectors were offering him 100, 200 euros for some albums. Whoa. Because they were rare.
Wow.
Because he kind of bought them at the time where just
the actual time, yeah, where you were just buying what you wanted to listen to.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he has that. He has a lot of Rolling Stone records and Beatles. I remember. I just remember spending a lot of time just looking at the covers of the records. I don't know if you ever did that, but as a kid I was
oh yeah. Well, for me though, the records was really a short portion of my life. It then became CDs or
that's
or
why
before that, obviously cassettes.
I think that's why for me that was also ingrained when CDs were big in the 2000s or around. I was also listening to. I think that's also why I still do the classic stuff. I will download the whole album or whatever, and I will listen to the whole thing, or listen. I would not just. Usually, what I do, I don't listen to one song from one artist. That rarely happens to some. Maybe some catchy song that I like the song, I don't particularly love the artist for some reason, and that song will probably fade away in 2 weeks, and I don't have to really go back to it. Whereas some other artists, I will listen to it more into the depth.
Did you ever read the sleeves and read all the lyrics? I used to do that.
Yeah, and where is produced, what year it was. Because all the records have that,
yeah.
And also could be that it's also when I think about it, if I would to take, I think he has all. I'm pretty sure for Pink Floyd I know he's missing maybe 2 albums, but for ABBA I'm pretty sure he has all of albums. So when you think about it, I was listening and reading as much as I could in English when I was really little. That also must have been a big help, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just rewinding now. There's it was not in Serbian.
So when did drums become something in your life? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or?
Yeah, at one point I was I would like to do I would like to try to play drums. I never played drums before I bought my first set.
How old were you?
16, not even.
So before then, what was music for you? Just listening to whatever your dad was listening to, or?
No, that was when I was little, and then my brother, who is almost 4 year my senior, he was listening to a grunge at the time, I guess, Nirvana, and we also went through the punk period with British punk and a little bit of American punk, but that and grunge. That was a middle of the 90s. Of course, you're going to listen to grunge. Nirvana was big here, so we listened to that. That's the main. I guess for me to come to listen to the foreign music more into rock music. Nirvana was big, and then maybe after a year, and I started listening to Metallica, and then it went to all other genres. But middle of the 90s, if you're not into dance music or whatever, it was grunge, post-grunge, I guess, and a few metal bands, rock bands / rock bands that were at the time, which is Metallica and Pantera, I guess, and Megadeth was big also.
Do you remember the first I don't even know what the first album you bought on your own?
I can't remember the first album I bought on my own, but one of the first albums that I remember that my dad
Gave you.
yeah, bought for me was in 1991 when the Innuendo, the last album of Queen when Freddie was still alive,
Whoa.
was new.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a cassette. I still have it. And I remember also looking at all the graphics inside, because it has like a small book inside that you like rewind and still remember it. It's still somewhere. I think it's at the attic.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember it was beginning, I think, of 91 when the album came out. And he died in November, so it must have been around those years. Maybe it could yeah, but it was new album at the time.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's the one thing that I remember. For me, Philip, he started working when I was like, I guess around 14 or something. I didn't have my own money, and CDs were like cheap at the time, and they were like all bootlegged. So every new album, people will like make new CDs and like with the covers and everything. So and it was very cheap. It was like, I don't know, like it will be like as you would to pay like $2 or $3 for the album.
Yeah, wow.
So for every paycheck that he received at his first job, he will buy like three, 4 new albums. And he bought a CD player before that for his 18th birthday, and then he was buying like new albums. So I was listening to all of that also until I got like some money. I saved something, and then like, but like I can't remember like, you know, first CD that I bought. I don't remember that, but those cassettes, like that cassette, I remember. Maybe that's why I, when people say like or ask me what's your favorite Queen album, I say Innuendo.
Yeah.
And I still listen to it now. I think it's like most sought after album they ever produced. So it's kind of a mishmash between old Queen and newer. It's kind of what could have been.
Yeah.
That and the Made in Heaven is the one that came in 1995. It's the from the Innuendo sessions, that songs that were not finished or were half finished. So they finished the songs that they started. So because obviously Freddie was sick, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, what kind of music played in your household?
Well, so for us, if I'm really trying to remember, like early, the only time I remember music being played in the house was for Christmas, or we had a record player. And my earliest memory was this song. I couldn't even tell you if this is the right lyrics or not, but like I just remember like playing on the ground. Like I think I was like sitting on my dad's back, and like, you know, he was like carrying me, and it was the song like Goodbye Old Paint, I'm leaving Cyan. Is that even? I don't even.
Be.
I couldn't tell you what the song is. I don't know. Like I have no idea what it is. But I just remember a record player being there, and my parents even had kept the record player for a really long time in the house that I grew up in. I just remember always being there, and I was like, what is this? Then we'd listen to like, you know, Disney stuff on you know, when I was really little. But I do remember my mom listening to a lot of Sting. So when I was, like I said, like really it was only Christmas time that we would listen to music. But my parents also, when I was like probably in like 2nd grade, bought me a CD player. So, and then, you know, eventually like the iPods came out and all that stuff. So I always listened to whatever CDs we had. You know, similar to you, like I listened to what my brother would listen to. And he actually was like the person who listened to musical theater before me. I remember him listening to Rent. And he was listening to La Vie Boheme, which in it they talk about he's one of the lines is, "You bet your ass to La Vie Boheme," And I remember hearing it because my brother and I shared a vent, so I heard that song. I was like, oh my god, he's listening to bad music. They said ass. And so I ran out of my mom. I was like, I don't know what Adam's listening to, but it says ass in it. And at this point, I was probably in elementary school. My brother was in middle school, so like 6th to 8th grade, somewhere around there.
So you were telling him?
Yes, because I was like, he can't listen to bad music. It has a swear word in it. And my mom was like, talk to him, and she was like, oh no, it's like from a musical. It's like, that happens sometimes. It's just like in the storyline. And I was like, what? And that's the first time that I was really, I did the school musicals, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. That's when I started wanting to listen to musical theater. That was short-lived, though. That was like elementary school. I would like, buy whatever would fit in my CD player I was listening to. Mm-hmm. So whatever someone was buying for me, I would listen to that. Like I had like Hilary Duff was I think the first CD I ever had, Metamorphosis, and then I had Taylor Swift, her first album when it first came out, before it was even like popular. My mom had gotten it for me. My mom's always ahead of the curve on stuff. So she had gotten me that before, like, Taylor Swift was on the radar at all. And I'm sure every little girl, every girl that's listening to this is like, I listened to it before everybody else listened to it, too. But I swear to God, I was really, like, it was...
Whatever happened to Hilary Duff? Sorry.
Hilary Duff? Yeah. Oh, she's on a TV show now, and she has, like, kids. But she definitely does not have a singing career. That was very short-lived.
Okay.
But,
she has a kids, I guess, Yeah.
But, like, when Taylor Swift was 15, I was listening to her first album, which was that was the Tim McGraw, like, do you think, Tim McGraw, hope you think of me, that song. And I listened to that whole album, and that was like when I would like read the so that was really, and then
it was
high
a CD,
school,
right?
Oh yeah, and I would jump on my bed because I wanted to be like Hilary Duff in, there was some movie where she like jumped around and sang on her bed.
She was in some kind of movie. I remember just like having images in it.
Maybe it was the Lizzie McGuire movie. But, so she's singing on her bed into a hairbrush, and I wanted to be like her, so I jump on my bed and I do that. And I just have this vivid memory of my dad one time just, like, coming in unfazed and, like, put clothes in my closet and then walked out, like, right in front of me, and I was, like, so embarrassed.
Not related to music, but I just remembered the movie that they were, like, airing that, like, I guess it was, like, 98 in something. Something around the 98, I guess, around 2000s. The movie with, Ginger girl very popular in the 2000s, but she kind of spent it all or like went down and got up. It's not Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, Lindsay Lohan.
But when she was kid, like we did like when she was playing like twins.
Yes.
Well, I don't know the name of the movie, but they were playing that I think on like either Sky One or something. We just got or like we were like having cable TV for like a year or something, and they were playing that. I remember that movie as a kid. I guess I'm similar age to her, so I was about that age with her, so it was like interesting to me for me to like watch.
She had that one, there was a movie where the song was like, that girl is a one-time teenage drama queen. Mm-hmm. Is it? So I remember that song.
She did play in like Herbie then and what else with Rachel McAdams. What's the...
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls,
yes.
Before we get back to the episode, we have something important to share with you.
As you all know by now, this podcast was started as a way for Aleks and I to connect while we are apart.
Little did we know how much the podcast would grow into something new.
In order to increase the quality of our content, it takes a great deal of time, attention, and hard work.
That's where you come in.
If you want to support us, we have set up a way for you to do just that.
Go to anchor.fm/ we have a lot to talk about and click on support.
You will then have the option to contribute however much you would like to in order to support us and this podcast.
We already have a few supporters and are so thankful for your contribution.
Now, let's get back to the episode.
So that was like young. Mm-hmm. Then when I was in high school, I really didn't care about music. I didn't really listen to it. I did musicals, so that kind of fulfilled that creative side, so I didn't really need to listen. I just didn't listen to music. And if I did, I listened to a lot of instrumental music because I was into modern dance. So I listen to like really alternative, weird, instrumental.
You're more of a dancer.
Yes. Okay.
I'm a dancer. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you.
My British alter ego is coming up.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
dancer.
Interesting.
Continue.
So, like, I listened to, like, Max Richter. So a lot of, like, weird instrumental stuff, and Regina Spektor was, like, my big. So that's how I learned how to play piano. Well, I had a teacher, but I kind of stopped with the teacher because I didn't really enjoy the piano. But I kept playing piano because of Regina Spektor, because she has a lot of simple, but, like... The songs are easy to learn, but they're actually very complex songs. So you could sound really interesting while not really needing to know a lot of theory to play her music. So I really liked Regina Spektor. Sting then came like towards the end of my senior year. I just had a memory of my mom playing 1,000 Years by Sting, which now I don't even really listen to it. But I remember hearing that song once and going, oh my God, Sting! Oh, I remember him. And so then I started listening to his music again, and then I became obsessed.
Yeah. That's how it starts. Like, you listen to some song usually, and then like, what he got more, like, what kind of songs did he or them did.
Yeah.
And then you start to listen to at least that's how it happened to me most of the time, yeah.
That's how I, like, 2 years ago was actually when I really started listening to Fleetwood Mac. I knew the songs, but I didn't really listen to their whole, what would that be called? Repertoire?
Repertoire, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, or their catalog, I didn't listen to all of their music until, maybe 2 years
You can also say discography.
Discography.
Costas, give me the discography of this band.
This is not a British accent.
I don't know, it's not. For me it is. In my head everything sounds nice.
Versus American. But yeah, so that's my story. So, I guess going back to like your career as a professional drummer. So at 16, you started playing the drums.
Yeah.
How was that? I'm your therapist.
Yeah.
So that was here?
That was, when we moved here, then I could have, like, buy drums.
Were your parents supportive of you learning drums?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were, even though it was, like, it was loud and, it was difficult, I must say, for somebody. So, like I said, the first drums I bought it with my own money that I saved from, like, I don't know, birthdays and stuff, and they were crap drums, and cymbals were also crap, and everything was crap, and then I changed in a few years. I think 2 or 3 years later I bought another second-hand drum, but everything, like, the skins were expensive, so until I really started to, like, work, which didn't come until like 2008, I guess. I didn't really have, like, a steady income of money so that I can invest in the drums. Yeah, but it was like a lot of beginner's mistakes, a lot of things that I could have invested, maybe buying something else. But it is like what it is. So later, at first band that I have a lot of high school. I have a lot of high school bands, and a lot of, like, bands through the, like, I have a friend in my high school that he was a guitar player, so we had, like, a first band together. Then we went into the, like, having bands with other people outside of the high school, of course. And I had in a high school in my class also. Besides him, I have a bass player also. So we were kind of, making bands on a side, and it was like, I don't know, I was in I think like 15-20 bands in total. Eventually I went into the band that was planning to have gigs. So my first gig was like October something in 2010. Like, first public.
Yeah.
I was playing for years, obviously. But I guess, like, the first few years for a drummer are very bad, because after I guess few years you see the difference. You became better after a few years. It cannot come like in few months. Some people cannot even have the first time I sat at the drums, I knew what I'm supposed to do, so I could do the simple groove.
Yeah.
You know, whereas some people that are good drummers couldn't even do that first
Because
time.
of the pressure, yeah.
I don't know, because it's like just complicated. So just saying that.
Yeah.
For that, I was in advantage, but you know, could I've practiced more? Sure. I don't like to practice even now. I'm just bored with it, like practicing the same thing over and over again. You know. So, but that was not the easy journey. It was not the easy journey, money wise also, because everything.
Yeah, drums, I'm sure, kind of just eat away.
Yeah.
Your bank account.
Yeah, basically, I was working, so I could have supported that, and then it made sense when I started making money from playing that I'm invest in that. Let's say.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of. I always felt like maybe I would go into more of a music route rather than musical theater if I had learned or taken the plunge into investing a little bit more into like equipment and recording. I used to when I was in high school, I secretly would post videos of me singing on YouTube. And I post, me playing the piano or writing my own songs.
You could have made like YouTube quotes career because if you're posting like 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, or I don't know when, but let's say.
Yeah, it was more than that, like
it was because
over 10 years ago.
Yeah, because now it's as we know,
oversaturated.
Yes.
Well, also, and especially with music, I mean, that's you have to have like a straight up like music video, and even then no one's watching.
Yes.
That's why I think nowadays, the way to be seen is really just playing in festivals. I think that's really the only thing. Or to find a gig at a popular place where people will want you to come back. I mean...
Yeah. What made you play piano? How that happened? How did that happen?
I mean, my mom says that I begged to play the piano. I really wanted to play a instrument. I remember that. And my brother, I think, really wanted to play the piano, but so he has a little interesting journey of his instruments, because he bought a guitar and wanted to learn how to play the guitar. But before that, I can't remember if it was before or after, he learned how to play the bagpipes, which really is playing the reed of the bagpipes. That's how you learn to play first. Yeah. Which sounds like a recorder that is too loud and cracks more. So it would be like, burr, burr. Like it was horrible to listen to, and I feel like he did that for like 10 years, but it was maybe a year or two he was doing it. It would just be horrible. My mom, I feel like my mom would be like, you need to practice, but would also be like, if he forgets, I'm not complaining. But yeah, so I started playing piano when I was in 4th grade, because my mom was talking to like a friend's mom who knew a lady who would come into the house and teach for a very affordable price. But by the time I was in 8th grade, I just was so uninterested that she actually offered to let me go. Because I think we were kind of keeping her because she was so, like, very sweet cute woman, and, like, she, it was really cheap, and, we were, what am I trying to say? We were supporting this woman's income. So, we couldn't just, I couldn't just quit because she did rely on that. But I think she was eventually like, you don't need to worry about me. She's not interested in practicing. Because I just didn't, I don't know. To me, now I understand that. I think it was a lot like language, in that if I had the drive to learn, I would learn quickly. But it's also something where you can't just have a lesson once a week and learn. You do have to have the discipline to practice, or have more than one more than one lesson per week.
Yeah, because you need consistency.
Yeah, which now, I mean, I'm really lucky because now I have the drive to learn all these things. And so the bass I bought last June, and now I can really just turn on any song and be able to at least play my own version of a bass line, even if that bass line's too complicated. I can find.
I learned to play guitar twice in my life.
Yeah.
Although I didn't forgot totally, which is great.
Yeah.
And I should buy it. I should buy a electric guitar again, hopefully. Maybe next year, maybe this year, towards the end.
And start learning that again. Yeah, I mean, you have the chords down. Now it's time to get the...
Yeah.
Learn how to...
The moves and a little bit.
Finger pick.
Yeah, and speed.
Yeah.
That lessons were good that I bought. That's great.
Yeah. I will say with string instruments, it's really interesting. It does feel like riding a bike. Yeah. And that once you, like, learn the... agility involved in it.
Yeah.
Like I'll start playing a song that I haven't visited since the summer. And I'm like, oh my god, I remember when this song was so hard to play and now it's so basic to me that, you know, it's nice you can actually feel how far you've come with that instrument versus piano is just always going to be, you know, I think that's why you have people who are geniuses in piano because and guitar. I mean, you just keep growing and growing with that. Any instrument, I guess. I'm saying that the bass is easy if you're a vocalist because basically you're just if you have really, not to toot my own horn, but if you have a good vocal quality and you know how your way around the scale and you know how to be creative in a melody, then the bass is not only going to be easier for you, but it's going to be something that a challenge that you want to embrace. That's why, you know, because there's always that theory that, like, the bass is the easiest instrument. It's really not.
It's not.
You just have to be someone who's extremely musical for it to be easy. It's the same with drums. It's like, you really, if you're going to play drums for the first time or not mess up, you basically have to be someone who really has a good internal rhythm and who doesn't get thrown, you know, or because it's really easy to be bad at instruments. There's really no instrument that's
I amazed how many people I met in my life. They didn't know the basics of what actually drums do. Like every leg, or what are you doing with left leg, or what are you doing with what is this on the drum, like the whole setup of the drum is like a kind of a mystery to people. And then when you tell them that like cymbals are produced by different manufacturers than drums itself, it's totally different industry or totally different I guess idea, or totally different like sound. The production is different.
Well, it's like being
and they're
a DJ.
Like, what, really? Usually the student drums or kids drums, like not really with good cymbals, like you can buy them like in bulk, because it's like, and even then those cymbals, if it says the name of the drums, it's usually made by the companies who are making cymbals, because like that's, I guess, the same with the car. Like a lot of things on the car, on the actual car, is like bought by a company from the external supplier.
Well, I was just gonna say, it's like being a DJ in that so much of being able to perfect the instrument is actually having all of the equipment that allows you to perfect the craft of that instrument. Like, you know, I didn't really understand. I would probably say, like, DJs are, like, lame, whatever. You don't have to have talent to do that, right? Before ever having worked with sound equipment. And now having done that, I'm like, man, like, same producers, you have to really know where the mic needs to go, how it needs to be set, how that sound needs to happen. And then imagine just with studio instruments, like, the mind you have to be able to actually coordinate that, and DJs, how to coordinate that type of stuff live.
Also, some people cannot even play the nice set music-wise. So on the like private party, I'm not talking even about the transitions between the songs. Just like playing a song by song, and then you choose another song. People don't know how
For DJ, you mean?
Yeah,
For
but just like a
anybody.
Yeah, for DJ, but just basic DJing quotes without any equipment,
absolutely.
like elementary school DJing.
Oh yeah,
like, can you play music? Yes, I can. And you can't imagine how many people are like don't have idea what set of songs they should play.
Or like the worst is, you know, when it's a bad DJ, the crossfade is like just so bad, and like it makes people stop. You know, especially if you're at like a party or something, it like makes people stop and go, "What the hell is happening here? This sounds horrible." And honestly, like I have more memories of that happening at like school dances or weddings. That is more of a memory than the actual event itself, because it was so bad. It's such a visceral,
bad and abrupt.
Yeah.
So that was our little rant about music.
Yes.
I guess, and what we played.
Yes. How we got into music and.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope that I will continue to play.
Me too.
Guitar. I mean drums obviously,
Definitely.
but guitar definitely something that I will come back to.
If anyone's ever had the privilege of watching Aleks perform, it's truly lovely. And I'm biased, of course, but I mean, he knows it. He needs to be a little egotistical about that, because he's really fun to watch when he performs. He doesn't just play. He really does perform, and it's really fun.
Thank you.
Yes, and I constantly tell him that I miss seeing him perform, because I love that about him. His happy smile performances. Everyone, he lights up a room. And I guess that's where we'll leave it.
Yes.
So we'll talk to you all next week. Happy talking! No, that's not how we end this episode.
Happy talking, like
Happy
it's
talking!
1952.
Yes. Have a good talk, everyone. Keep on talking. Alright, this is the end. Bye!
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of We Have a Lot to Talk About. We have new episodes coming out every Monday on most podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. And don't forget to subscribe, like, rate, and review us, as well as give us a follow on Instagram at We Have a Lot to Talk About Podcast. Talk to you next time.